Hi, this is Becky with Icing on Top, Becky's Cakes, and today we're going to do a light up winter cottage cake that you can easily turn on and off right behind the cake, which makes it super convenient for when you want to turn it on for the party and when you want to turn it off before the party. But anyway, let's get started. First, I want to start the day before because this part is going to take 24 hours to dry. We're going to do the chimney smoke. We're using rice paper, and if you've made rice paper sales, this will be very, very familiar to you. So I've also got a wooden skewer here. I've got some clips. I've got a silicone mat here. You can use wax paper if you don't have silicone. And I have a little pie pan filled with water. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut this in a wavy pattern, nice thick wavy pattern, and we're going to stick that directly in the water, and then I'm going to stick a little metal spoon on top of it when I put it in the water to hold it in place. Then I'm going to clip my silicone mat in two different places, remove that rice paper sail, and it should be nice and soft after being in there for just about a minute, and kind of wrap the ends in my skewer here. And I'm going to let that dry overnight, and that's all we need for the smoke. I'm going to use a square mousse ring, and I'm just going to cut 6 little squares, and I'm going to pile them in 3 high on 2 separate cubes. Put a little ganache right on my cake board, set that there, and then I'm going to put ganache between each of these layers. You can do buttercream. Ganache is just going to make it even more sturdy, which is going to work out really well for us. So we're just going to use ganache. And if you're wondering what my ganache recipe is, it's super easy. It's the same thing as if you've seen my drip cake tutorial. Same exact stuff that you use for the drip cake tutorial, only you let it sit a couple hours so it's more room temperature, because obviously we don't want this to drip everywhere. But it also will like really stiffen up real good so that we can be able to cut this cake easier. I'm also using a small circular mousse ring, and I'm going to use this little circular mousse ring for several different things. One of them is to cut out my chimney. I'm going to put that in the freezer because I want it super firm for when I cut it. And now I'm going to clean off my mousse ring, and I'm going to use it for the windows. And I'm using pre-cooked isomalt this time because it's super easy. So I'm just going to put a little bit of vegetable oil on this, and I put it on a silicone mat. And then I'm just going to pour a little bit right into that once I have the ice malt melted. Now you can use my sugar recipe if you want, but then it's going to be slightly yellow, and I wanted it perfectly clear. Now I'm just going to pop this out very gently, and it comes right out as long as you've put that vegetable oil in. I'm going to use my blowtorch to get out any little bubbles or any imperfections that could be there. And then once it dries, I'm just going to spray it with my PME spray. And the PME spray is to keep it from getting cloudy when it's introduced to moisture, or even when it sits overnight. Ice malt can kind of get cloudy because of the moisture in the air. So we're just going to spray it with that PME. Now I'm going to measure off my cube that's been in the freezer. I popped both of the cubes in the freezer. This is the one that didn't have ganache on the outside, and the other one did. So this one didn't have ganache yet, and it's because I'm going to put the ganache on it after I slice it into a roof. So I wanted this to look very much like a comfy cottage that you would see in a storybook. So we just kind of made it like that. I'm going to pipe on some ganache because it's easier to get on the cake this way, and then I'm going to smooth it all over. Then we're going to want to get out that mousse ring again, because I'm going to put this right in the center and push it almost about halfway in. I kind of twisted it when I did that. And I'm just kind of digging out the hole, not too far in, just far enough where that window will have something to sit, but we don't want to make the whole cake unstable, so we don't want to push too far in. And you can scoop out with a spoon if you do not have this tool. This tool is what I use whenever I am palette painting with buttercream on a cake. But it also has other uses like this. And then I made sure I get some ganache in there and covered it all the way around so that would kind of firm up too. And then we'll place some ganache right on the outside here as well. Let that firm up. We'll pop that back in the freezer and we can work on the next part. I'm going to use the same process to make a little window over here as well. Now I'm going to use some smoothie straws to create some support in my cake. That's a paintbrush with a little bit of gel food coloring to mark how high I need to make my smoothie straw. I'm going to pull it out so that I can use this straw to measure my other 3 straws, and then I'll cut them all to the same height and place them in my cake. Also making care that I place them at such a point that it won't interfere with where I'm going to put the straw that needs to go all the way through my cake for the light. So I had to put it closer to the edge than I would normally do, but that works. And then I'm just going to put some ganache there just to hold my cardboard in place, and then cover that with more ganache and grab the top of the cake and place that on top, and then fill that in a little more with, of course, more ganache. So first of all, I'm going to show you how to make a smoothie straw torch. If you turn it, see, it's like, actually looks like a lightsaber. No, anyway, it's a torch. This is gonna shine the light through our cake like a tunnel and come out and make it look like the windows are lit up, which is a lot of fun. I'll show you how I came up with this concept. It was actually kind of by accident and frustration at the same time of my project not working initially. I was like, how on earth is this gonna work? So anyway, I'll show you how to make this smoothie straw torch. It's really simple. You only need smoothie straws and balloon lights. Now these are actually waterproof balloon lights, because originally, this is what makes them waterproof. See this little part here and this covering? Well, originally I was going to insert the balloon light through the smoothie straw, and it would rest inside there inside the cake. Now, it had obvious problems. See this? It didn't want to go through, right? So I'm like, So I didn't want to put fairy lights in. Just it wasn't the look I was going for. So I was like, now what do I do? It doesn't fit. So what I did was, this is really simple. Pop off the top. I'm going to take out, I popped this off too. See that middle ring? It's just plastic ring. Pops right out. And the only way how you turn them on is you would twist them like that. Now, okay, how to get it to fit in the straw when we know it's still will not quite fit, right? So what we're gonna do is, once we get the length in the cake, and then once this gets to the end of our cake, then we cut it just so that it gives us a little bit of a tail to hang off. And then after we have the little tail to hang off, we snip just a little bit there and on the other side. What that does, it just gives you a little wiggle room. And that little wiggle room will allow you to pop this guy in here. So now he is popped in nice and snug. And oh, I got another lightsaber. Star Wars. This is going to be a Star Wars thing next time. Oh, and so see if you can see the wall behind me. It's going to shine all the way through your cake. And since it's now not waterproof because we removed it, this much is going to be hanging outside your cake, in the back of your cake. So it's almost like turning on your cake. And actually, I realized another benefit to that is that you won't have a hot. They get hot after a while. You won't have a hot light inside your cake. So that's another benefit to not having this actually inside your cake, but actually hanging out of it with this smoothie straw. One more time, nice and snug. Give it that little twist that turns it on. And also you have fun lightsabers for children's parties. No, that's not the reason for this, but yeah, there. Now you have the light that shines through the cake. It's pretty cool, and a new little torch. So this, again, all you need, balloon lights, got a pack on Amazon, smoothie straws, and scissors. So now we're going to get one of our smoothie straws that we haven't put the light in yet, and we are going to slowly work it through our cake. I'm kind of pressing from the other side, and I twist the smoothie straw back and forth as I do this. As you notice, my little assistant is behind me helping me out and hoping for crumbs. No, she actually did get part of this cake later, so don't feel too bad for her. And just continue to press this all the way through until it lines up with the window on the other side. And as you can see, you can kind of see through the straw where the cake stops. It only goes about maybe 1.5 inches in. So when we cut that, the straw will be completely clear, which will be great because that's when we're going to put in the light, and still you'll be able to see through the whole straw because there's not going to be any cake in the way. And then do the exact same thing with the bottom one as well. So now you can see through both of those completely cleared. Now cutting it just a teeny bit like I showed you earlier in order to put in the little light bulbs. We'll take that light bulb and place it in our straw right here, pressing it in, and then we can turn it on and off, which is a lot of fun. I probably have way too much fun with this part. Now you can see them both in, and if you look on the wall behind me, you can see how powerful those little lights are. Here, this is a basket weave tip. One side is flat and one side is serrated. So I am just striping my cake, letting them overlap so it kind of looks like wooden boards. And I'm making sure that the serrated one is facing the cake so that the flat side is facing me. So all you get is the flat design. I have a very large round writing tip here. I think it's like a size 10. And we're going to use that to pipe on our cute little shingles. We're just going to pipe, squeeze, and then pull up as we release the pressure on our bag. And then as we go all the way across the next row of them, we're going to try to keep in between those dots. Then for the top row, we just got to go straight across the top. And we're going to sprinkle it with snow. And what this snow is just white candy melts that I put in my blender, those Wilton candy melts, and a couple tablespoons of cornstarch. Then I'm going to pipe on a wreath, and I am using a small French tip and a little writing tip to do the red detailing. I'm going to cut down some of these Christmas trees and put the excess in a bag and crunch it up. I'll show you what we're going to use this for later. And now these Christmas trees, we're going to use the French tip again with our green buttercream, and we're just going to pipe downwards, making little stars as we pull down, and we just work our way up, making sure we fill in all the gaps until we get all the way to the, not the very top, all the way close to the top. We're going to leave ourselves a little room to be able to pick these up and stick them on the cake later. But while the buttercream is still wet, I am going to go ahead and sprinkle them with our snow. I try to sprinkle them before the buttercream crusts, otherwise it won't stick. So that's why I sprinkle each one at a time instead of all at the end. So there are our Christmas trees, and we're going to put those in our Tupperware bin for now until we get our cake done. I'm just smoothing on some vanilla buttercream, the white buttercream all across the bottom, and making our little path here. Then I'm going to take the part that we scrunched up from our Christmas tree, and we're going to use that for our path here. I'm also going to get out some chocolate rocks. I bought these chocolate rocks on Amazon. I've been wanting to use them. Again, I've used them for other projects, but here we're going to line our path with these chocolate rocks. They're really yummy too. I'm getting out my Christmas trees from my bin down here. I'm going to just strategically place them all where I want them to go here. And then we're going to finish piping the tops. And then after we pipe the top, we'll go ahead and sprinkle some more snow on them. Now we'll get that little round piece of cake that we stuck in the freezer, and we're going to cut it at an angle because it's going to sit on our roof. So we want to cut it in an angle, and we're going to use a little bit of buttercream, some dark gray buttercream, to stick it to the roof and get our chimney smoke that is completely dried. And we can stick that right in the middle and then pipe on. I'm using another round tip, same kind of round tip that I use for piping the roof, and we just piped on some stones. And this is the fun part. We're going to put in windows. What I did is I kind of placed in the bottom first and then pressed in the top. And those fit snugly because we made it with the same cutout that we cut out the circle in the cake. So we're just going to press those in, and those should fit nice and snugly. Then we're going to pipe some snow and icicles around each window, and then just pulling down and releasing it as we go to pipe out those icicles. And I did the same thing around the roof. Just adds a lot of wintry funness to our scene. And now we're turning on the lights. So exciting! I had a lot of fun with this cake.
I do my own sound effects, you guys. I also blind myself.